I've been ballin' out, boy, it ain't nothing major. I can never switch, I can never be a hater. Tryna hit a lick, you get hit with the lasers. I'm smoking hella pat while I count up this paper. Ballin', this ain't no.
I did Mojo the Slime, I did Nick and Jules, Keelan and Daniel, like you just said. Do you know who BBZ is?
No.
No, okay, I did BBZ. I did Lucas, but he was the first one and the video got so fucked up.
So I'm the first girl?
Yeah.
Lit.
Can you actually, yeah, that's perfect. Right
Okay.
there. Literally, you look perfect. You're right there. Boom, boom. And the dope thing about this being, like, and do you want to bang or anything?
No, I'm good.
No, you're good, okay. The dope thing about this, not being like live or anything, is
you can like edit and
we can edit, so whatever, you can say whatever you want, you can literally say whatever you want.
And then tell you to cut or whatever.
And just say, like, tonight go home, think about it, or like, made podcast, be like, yo, like, I do not want this being fucking said, you know what I mean? So like, yeah, you're literally chilling with that.
Perfect.
Yeah, dude, it's good. And I clicked the play button, so
perfect.
it's recording right now. What's good in the motherfucking hood, guys? We got Hannah Buechner in here.
Hey.
Dude, honestly, I'm super stoked you came out this morning, and it's 10 a.m. guys. Like, you're probably been up for a while.
Yeah, I've been up since 6:45.
Oh my god, I've been up for like 30 minutes. That's why I'm like about to start drinking a little caffeine. But dude, this is good. You are on this podcast. I feel like it's, one, you're the first girl, and two, like, your presence, you're definitely gonna get like some people that would never like even give this a try to watch it. You know what I mean? And like you got some dope ass stories, and I got a lot of very good. You've got a lot of answers to my questions, I'm hoping.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So
I hope I can.
Let's start off with like, you're 22?
I am.
You're 22 years old and you just graduated from
West Point, the United States Military Academy.
So give it up for that, guys. That's big, that's crucial.
It's funny because in this area, especially like in San Luis Obispo County, even just like central coast of California, a lot of people like don't know what the service academies are. I feel like I remember like in high school when I was applying, a lot of people didn't really know what West Point was, just because I feel like in our community here, we don't have a strong military presence.
Yeah.
And so for those who don't know, there are 5 service academies for like the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Coast Guard, and Merchant Marines. And there's a specific academy for each one. And if you go there, you don't pay to go there, but you pay in your service. So I have a 5-year commitment that I have to do active duty. Starting like since graduation, which was a couple weeks ago.
So name the okay, but this is gonna be dumb, but I'm gonna have a lot of stupid questions. Is West Point in California?
No, so it's in New York. It's on it's like right above New York City, kind of like 55 miles along the Hudson River.
So it's on a body of water.
Yeah, a river. That's gross. Not like the ocean.
Okay. How many people go to West Point?
There's about a little over 4,000. So each class is like about 1,000.
So it's not crazy big.
No.
That's like a big high school.
It's pretty much high school 2.0. Like, you know everyone, people know you, kind of thing.
What other, name like a few like other big like top name brand like service academies.
So there's Annapolis for the Naval Academy in Maryland.
Yeah.
And then the Air Force Academy in Colorado and Colorado Springs. Those are like our 2 big, especially in sports, our biggest like competitors.
Okay.
Just kind of like that rivalry between the services.
Yeah. So you guys play your sports against these other schools.
Yeah, and we're also in like our own, so our school's a D1 school, so we still have our own like conference that we play against like other schools around the area, like in Pennsylvania or just like the Northeast in general. But like just for more of a competitive like-ness, the other service academies, it's kind of like, it's like the Army-Navy rivalry is one of like the biggest in like college football history. Like the Army-Navy game is the only broadcasted like game like that weekend.
Why is it so big? Why
just because
like
it's
West
such
Point on TV?
Because it's such a big, like, long-lasting rivalry, like, since, I want to say, like, 1800s, mid-1800s.
Damn,
yeah,
okay.
when, like, football started becoming a thing. So, like, in every sport, we're super competitive with the Naval Academy.
Okay. What, and they play other, like, non-military-based, like, colleges?
Yeah.
Okay. Damn, so how many of these colleges exist? Is it like
it's just those
dozens?
5 service academies. So kind of like I'm sure we'll dive into this too. So
dude, your fingernails match the table.
I know. I was just thinking about that. But so when you go into like a branch of the military, so like I'm gonna just talk about the Army because that's what I know.
Yeah.
You either enlist or you're an officer. So there's the enlisted folk. And then there's the officer corps.
Okay.
And so to become an officer, you have to either go to West Point, get your commission from West Point, get your commission from ROTC.
What's ROTC?
So those are like the people, so like Cal Poly has an ROTC program.
Okay.
It's basically like you do some like Army related things during your time at that school, but you're not like fully immersed in it like at West Point.
Okay.
So like you'll still do like physical training in the mornings, you'll have military like classes and all that, and have requirements you have to do. It's just another way to get your commission.
Gotcha.
And then the other one is OCS. And also there's going to be, like, disclaimer, a lot of acronyms that I just don't know their names too. Because the acronyms are very prominent in the military.
Yeah.
And then OCS is basically those who, it's like a school for those who are enlisted beforehand and want to become officers. So those are the 3 paths you can take. And so...
You're saying out of all the hundreds of colleges across America, there's only those 3 that you, like, need to...
Well, so ROTC is at most colleges, like, major, like, colleges.
Okay, so would Berkeley have ROTC?
I believe it does,
UCLA.
actually. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, so it's like that program, so that's just how to get your commission as an officer.
Okay.
And so, between those 5 branches, like the Naval Academy, the Air Force Academy, West Point, Merchant Marine, and Coast Guard, those are just like the service academies as one method to get your commission as an officer in that respective branch.
Gotcha.
I kind of forget what my train of thought was beforehand to explain all that, but just to give some background, I guess, on... Like, I could have gone to Cal Poly and done ROTC and gotten the same angle of being an officer, but I chose to go to West Point instead.
Okay, because at Cal Poly, that's definitely not a military school.
No, but they have the ROTC program, and that's actually why we moved out here, my family, because my dad got a job teaching there.
At Cal Poly?
Yeah.
For doing a military
For the ROTC, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You were born in SLO, right?
Nope.
No?
I was born in North Carolina.
What the fuck? That's crazy.
Because my dad retired from the Army when I was, like, 1. So we lived at Fort Bragg in North Carolina. He retired, got the job in SLO.
Damn.
And that's how we moved out here.
That's kind of a dope, like not in-game as a parent, but, like, you just retired. You pretty much just had a baby.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're 1 year old and then fucking...
Come here.
California.
Yeah, and then my mom went to Cal Poly to get her teaching credential, and...
So you only lived in North Carolina. You were born in North Carolina until you were 1?
Like 2. Around 2. Yeah, we were there for another year after he retired.
Having since lived, like, in SLO since, have you gone... Oh, and then you, like... Because you live in Morro Bay, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so, like... Did you guys just initially move to Morro Bay and you guys have stayed there, same house since?
Yeah, well, no, my parents divorced in the process.
Oh, okay.
But so that's why my mom lives in Osos and my dad lives in Morro Bay.
Oh, okay.
But other than like that, yes, we've stayed in the area since.
Gotcha. Have you ever been back to visit North Carolina?
No, and so the funny thing is that my first like post after graduation is Fort Bragg, North Carolina.
Really?
Yeah, and I chose it not because of that reason, but it's
Yeah.
kind of like a nice full circle.
That is.
Just to be like, my first Army post is going to be at the place that I was born.
So you get to choose where you're going to go, like after your.
Yes and no. So basically, when we graduate, like during our our last semester, we find out what our job in the Army is gonna be and like our first post. So my first job, since there's so many different options, there's like people who go aviation, people who go armor, who go field artillery. I chose quartermaster, which is basically like logistics, like supply and like the transportation of it and planning of it. And so after we found out what our branch is, we then find out our post by they rank us all in that branch in our class rank order. And then they have all the available posts on a wall. And then so the number one person in that branch goes and picks their option. And the number two person goes. So I was lucky enough that no one took the only Fort Bragg spot that my branch had.
What, do you mind me asking what your rank was?
Of the 24 people, I was number 7.
Okay. Hell
so
yeah.
Not super high up, but enough to get what I wanted.
Dude, that's top tier, honestly.
Ish.
Not top 3, but you're still up there. Did you take school seriously?
Yes and no. I definitely went into the mindset of I want to put in the best effort that I can at that moment. But I wasn't going to let it take over my life like I saw some other people do. I definitely wanted to maintain, that balance of, a social life, working out, and school. Okay. So, there's definitely times I made some sacrifices where I was like, I'm just not going to be able to do this anymore. Yeah. I'd rather put effort into this assignment that's worth more, that's due in 2 days, than this one that's due tonight.
Yeah.
So, I kind of, I definitely didn't slack off, but I didn't go above and beyond. Sometimes I would start papers the night before.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like I said, I tried to keep it balanced because I was I want to enjoy college. I saw how some people took it really seriously, which is good for them. Maybe that's what they wanted and that's fine. But I was able to get the branch that I wanted, the post that I wanted, and I didn't really lose, a social life or, my physical fitness. So, to me, it's a win-win.
Dude, nice. Nice. Okay, so... You how many different options are there available? You said out of the 24 people, the first one gets to pick their first post. So how many different posts are there? Are there a ton of posts
in the US,
all over to go? Or?
So there's a bunch of posts all over the US. I can't give you a number exactly, but they, at least for, let's say, I'm just gonna talk about quartermaster, my branch.
Okay.
Some of the posts didn't have slots for us. So one of the posts is in Hawaii, Schofield Barracks, Hawaii. We didn't have any slots for that, so no one was able to go there. But we had 3 slots to go to Fort Campbell in Kentucky. So it was very, we had our options, but it wasn't all the options.
Yeah.
Because it's based on the Army's needs.
Okay.
So the people who branched infantry, let's say, that was a bigger pool. There's 230 of them.
Not 24.
Yeah,
okay.
And so they had 20 slots to Fort Bragg, 10 slots to Hawaii. But because they were such a bigger pool.
Yeah. Okay, so sorry, give me the title of your pool one more time.
Quartermaster.
Quartermaster. What exactly is a quartermaster?
So the Quartermaster Corps is actually the second oldest branch in the Army after infantry. And we basically do...
Dude, a lot of people don't know this, man.
I know.
Dude, thank you for coming on there.
Of course.
Literally, thank you.
And so there's actually 17 branches in the Army in total.
17 branches in the Army? Okay.
Yeah. And so Quartermaster's the second oldest one. And basically, there's a lot of things that a quartermaster officer can do. It's essentially logistics, but they do mortuary affairs, water, fuel, food, supply, kind of the Amazon of the Army kind of thing, aerial delivery, parachute packing, a bunch of logistical things to help support, mission support.
Okay.
So That's kind of like the best way I can summarize it.
So it's a bunch of like hidden behind the line stuff and like you're restocking.
Yeah. So like when people are like, oh, like are you gonna be on the line? I'm like, no, but I'll be supporting those people
supporting
like
the
with
line.
ammunition and like, you know, that kind of like.
Because without you guys, the line doesn't exist.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
And another reason why I chose to go quartermaster was because after my 5-year commitment, I don't know if I want to stay in the Army or not. Like, I want to open up the possibilities of that if I just go into the civilian sector, having that background in logistics is really going to be helpful, let's say, for a corporate job or, like, working for, like, big name brands or whatever.
Dude, it's, you have, like, you'll have, like, an advantage, you know what I mean? Like, dude, you could honestly run for the president if you wanted to.
I don't know. We'll see.
What, like, okay, so you said, you know how you said you graduated, now you have a 5-year commitment?
Yeah.
Dude, a 5-year, that's a long time. That's half a decade. Dude, you're gonna be like 27, 28 by the time that's, like, done.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, it's kind of like, not a security blanket, but it's also like, okay, I know for the next 5 years I have a job with good pay, with housing, with benefits. Like, to me, like, going to West Point, I was like, okay, that's gonna be 4 years. 4 years flew by. Like, 5 years to me doesn't seem that... If someone told me it was 10 years, I'd be like, I don't know, that's a long time. But for me, like, 5 years doesn't really seem that long. I guess that's just because in comparison to, like, a lot of, like, my friends back home here, like, 5 years is like, well, I don't know what I'm doing in 5 years. But it's like, for me, I'm like, okay, well, I have a set job with a set pay. And
you like to have a security blanket.
In a sense, yeah.
And you're kind of stoked
like stability, I guess.
You're kind of stoked on the fact that now you have, like, you know what you're kind of doing the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay. And, like, you don't have, like, a worry of, like, oh, like, what am I going to do when, like, part A is done and then I need to go to part B? How am I going to get to part C? You already know.
In a sense. And it's still flexible during those 5 years. Like, yeah, I'll be at Bragg for probably, like, 2 to 3 years. And I don't know where I'm going to go after that, what my job is going to be after that.
Damn.
But I just know that for those 5 years, I do have something going for me.
You're going to be in North Carolina 5 years? Or
for
not
like,
5 years?
For like
2 or 3 years.
2 or 3 years, yeah.
Could you do 1 year in North Carolina?
No, and typically the job when you first get, like, so when you first graduate, you're a second lieutenant, like that's the rank. And a typical job for a second lieutenant is being a platoon leader. And so a platoon varies in size. Usually it's from like 20 to 40 people.
You're gonna be a platoon leader?
So yeah.
What?
So a platoon leader job is like 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
Based on, like, again, the needs of the Army, like how it all works out. But yeah, essentially.
Me being the average person on this, I don't even know if you call me the average person, but, like, when I think of the Army, or the military, I should say, I think of a bunch of people, a bunch of dudes going on, like, a bus or, like, getting dropped off by their parents, talking to a recruiter, and then, like, immediately, like, they're getting a buzz cut and they're going to, like, a boot camp. And then I'm like, okay, from that date, they're in that shit for 4 years and they go, like, on these, like, active tours and stuff.
So you're...
But you're complete opposite.
Yeah, because that's the enlisted side you're thinking of.
Okay, and you're doing 4 years into college, graduating with a degree, and then having a bachelor's degree, is that? Okay.
Bachelor's of Science. In Spanish and French.
What?
Yeah.
You got 3?
So, no, it's like, instead of like a Bachelor of Arts, like, West Point's an engineering school, but because I majored in languages, I still had to take a shit ton
of math
and science classes, which was super hard for me.
What was the hardest math class?
I mean, I only took up to calculus.
Okay, that shit's hard, huh?
That's
hard.
For me, not easy, but my downfall was physics. Physics made no sense to me.
You got a C?
C+.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, physics, not easy for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so,
And keep talking. I'm just.
Yeah, you're good. So I basically have a bachelor's of science because I took all those classes, but it's in Spanish and French because that's what I majored when I was there. And then, but yeah, so that was kind of like the difference with enlisted and like the officers. Is like the officers essentially like go to a school to get their degree, and then there's like not pros and cons. I would say like there's like benefits from both angles, because me going in as a new second lieutenant platoon leader to my platoon, I have zero experience in the Army, but I'm gonna be working with people who have years of experience, yet I'm in charge of them. So you learn a lot from each other.
Okay.
And that relationship between an officer and his NCOs, non-commissioned officers, which are the enlisted folk.
Those are the people that just got the buzz cuts and stuff.
Yeah, like they went to a recruiter, like went to boot camp, which is called basic training.
Are they like almost offended in a way that this person is coming from a college with a degree and now they're going to be told what to do? Like, is there like a kind of demand for power? Like,
I think it just depends on the relationship you have with your NCOs, and maybe their personal like outlooks on things. Because yes, we have been told and like learned about having that healthy balance. Because like yes, obviously, I'm sure if NCOs have had a bad relationship with their platoon leader, their PL, they'll be like who's this guy like telling us what to do? Like he has zero experience. Like I've been on like 4 tours in Iraq, like kind of that kind of crap. But then I think if you are a strong platoon leader that listens to their NCOs, learns from them, makes sound decisions to benefit the platoon as a whole for the overall mission, then there can be that healthy relationship where they do respect that leadership position that they have, but not take it in the sense of like, oh, they're just given this power because they went to school, if that makes sense. It's kind of like we're told a lot, like the Army is a people's profession. Like you are working with people and for the people of the United States, and and that's something too that I learned at school, was kind of in my mind, like in high school, like leadership just kind of seemed like, oh, like you're just like the team captain of this, or like you just are a really strong person at making decisions. But leadership is so much more than that. There's like we've taken we have actual classes on leadership. Classes. Like called officership, or like psychology for leaders, and just to actually learn what it actually means to be a leader and what it entails, and that kind of like changed my perspective on things too. You before I lose this train in my thought, you said you have like a bachelor's in language, or not, in science. Of science. And you're fluent in French and Spanish. I wouldn't say fluent in French, but I speak it like intermediate level.
Could you be a translator or no?
I think I could, yeah.
In French, can you say, today I'm going to the beach after my class?
Après mon classe, je vais à la plage.
Can you say it in Spanish?
Después de mi clase voy a la playa.
Okay, so you're better in Spanish.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. And then sorry, I wanted to bring that up really fast, but so how long does a platoon last?
Like your time.
Like, are you with them a year, or is it like 2
to 3 years? You're with that platoon, yeah.
So you're then gonna go to Fort Bragg in North Carolina, and you're then be in charge of a platoon.
Yes.
And you are they are your NCOs.
Yes.
And those people, those NCOs that are in the platoon, and you're in charge. You're the one leader of the platoon.
Mm-hmm. Well, so in a platoon, so usually I'll describe like a basic like infantry platoon. There's 4 squads. Each squad leader is an NCO. So you don't become an NCO until you're an E5, which is a sergeant. So like a private first class specialist, like those like beginning ranks aren't considered NCOs yet. And so your 4 squad leaders report to the platoon sergeant, who is a high ranking NCO. And he's kind of like, I would say, the so the platoon sergeant and the platoon leader are kind of like the parents of the platoon. The platoon sergeant is in charge of like order, discipline, like ensuring standards, like getting basically the platoon in shape based on the decisions that the platoon leader makes. So let's say the platoon leader comes back from a meeting saying like, hey, mission, or like what we need to accomplish today is XYZ. Tells that to the platoon sergeant then disseminates that like message to the squad leaders, and the squad leaders like they basically like get those like men and women in line, telling them what to do, getting that mission done for the day.
So it's not you directly conveying your message to the platoon, it's you talking to platoon sergeant, platoon sergeants.
It's called the chain of command.
Chain of command.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously there'll be times where I do address the platoon and talk about things with them, and like it's not just me behind the scenes the whole time. Like you do want to have that proper relationship with your platoon. Yeah,
you have to. Yeah. No one would respect you.
No,
you know, you got to be in the field with them.
Yeah. But like in terms of like disseminating information for getting a mission done, yes, I speak with the platoon sergeant, the squad leaders, and
so are these like people these are the enlisted folk? Are they like, is this like their first year in the Army?
No. So like your platoon sergeant can have like up to like 13, 14 years of experience in the Army.
And you're ahead of this dude?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, and so that's where that's where you have to have that good relationship with them, because you don't want them to undermine you or like discredit you. That's why you want to have that healthy relationship with them, because they have the experience, but you technically have that like authoritative power over them in the platoon.
Damn.
So like I said, it is a people person job.
Yeah.
Because there's just so much though you can learn from your NCOs. Because they have all that experience.
Yeah. Okay. So the people in the platoon, like the sergeant, is that what you call them?
Yeah, sergeants are like, that's like one level. There's different ranks.
Dude, let's talk about some rankings right now.
Okay, just to give you a...
From my Call of Duty experience, is the top rank a commander?
So that's just like a position. So...
Okay.
I wonder if I can...
Is the top rank the president? Or no?
So if you're talking about like major like chain of command overall, then yes, the president is the commander-in-chief, highest of them all. We listen to him.
Okay.
But okay, this is kind of what I was looking for.
Before you show me, is the first rank private, first class?
No. So like for the officer side of things, this is the ranking. So second lieutenant, first lieutenant, captain, major, lieutenant colonel, and then your general officer ranks.
Okay.
And so then for the enlisted side, it's a private first class, corporal, specialist, sergeant. So after sergeant, all these enlisted ranks, these are the NCOs.
Sergeant Major of the Army. Is that a big one?
That's a pretty high rank.
Okay, and then you are a...
Second lieutenant. So these are the enlisted, and these are the officer ranks.
Company and field grade officers.
Yeah.
You are a second lieutenant.
I am the bottom of the officer corps.
Are you ever going to go to first lieutenant?
Yeah, so first lieutenant you typically get after 18 months. Just like, you get it after 18 months in the Army. And then captain is where it gets a little bit spicier with promotion boards and like they look at your packet and...
Money.
Yeah, you get a pay raise every time you go up. But yeah, that gives you a better visual of like what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, I like how they were like, yo, this is the enlisted folk, this is the officers or whatever. Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a big distinction a lot of people don't understand, is that the Army or the Navy, the Air Force, whatever, it's not just a conglomerate of people. There's your enlisted personnel and your officer personnel, and it's like that relationship between the two to make it work.
Okay, I just assume that the enlisted personnel, like amongst them, like obviously like they do some time, some of them get upgraded, some of them like go off and fight, and then others come back and they're like, okay, like they've been here a while now, we're gonna make them a second lieutenant, you know what I mean? And this second lieutenant who's like, he's gonna teach the boot camp or like teach the, you know what I mean? I didn't know it was like a separation of, hey, these officers are gonna be over here doing their entirely own thing, getting bachelor's degrees and going to
before they go into the army.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damn. So this is like a well thought out process.
Yeah.
What made you want to go and what made you want to do the officer side of things instead of being an enlisted folk?
I mean, to be honest, like in high school, I really wasn't thinking about the army too much. I was like, I just want to go to West Point and I'll do my army thing, whatever, afterwards. And then it wasn't until I was actually there, I was like, okay, I actually kind of dig this army thing. Like, I'm excited to be an officer. Like, I really look forward to doing that. But yeah, in high school, I was like, oh, it's a college. And that was kind of like more my thought process. Because I wanted to go to college.
Yeah.
But yeah, the actual like officer aspect of it, I didn't really drink that Kool-Aid until I was there.
Are you gonna have to yell at people?
If I have to, maybe.
Like, have you been screamed at in your face? Like
Yes.
Like someone yelling at you top of their lungs?
Yes.
Like, really?
Yeah.
And have you screamed at somebody like top of your lungs?
Yes.
To like direct them around?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn, dude. Okay, after this, you're gonna have to like show me or something.
Like my voice?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Dude, I'm like, literally, when you were talking about all that, I was literally visualizing you like being okay, if we saw you somehow
In my like army setting.
in your army, dude, I bet you were a completely different person. I bet you were a fucking killer, right?
I wouldn't. So that's like something I've tried to like talk to my own internal self. Is like I don't want how I am as a leader to be different how I am as a person, because that is another topic we talk about at school. Is there are people who completely do a whole like 180
Really?
and change how they are as a person when they're in a position of leadership or a position of power. Like think of like the Stanford prison experiment, how like those people just like completely changed.
Yeah.
Because they're like, I'm in power.
Yeah.
And that was like something I told myself, like I don't want, like I have to be cautious and not let that happen.
You're saying like people just are naturally power hungry?
Some people are.
You're saying people will change because they have power? Some people
do, and I've seen it. So we at school, we have different grad requirements other than academics.
Okay.
So every summer is when we do our summer training. And so one of the requirements is you have to have a leadership detail. And so my leadership detail was for the incoming class of 2023. When your first summer at West Point is basically like West Point's version of like basic training. It's called cadet basic training. And I was a squad leader for that. So I had my own squad.
Why were you the leader?
Because I was a junior, and so that was my leadership detail.
Gotcha.
Like for a grade, was to be the squad leader for these 9 new cadets, as we call them.
And is someone like following you around with a clipboard, like taking?
No,
notes?
so it's peer review, like
really?
Your peers grade you, but then also we have a actual like army officer who's in charge too, and like they evaluate your performance as well. And so that for me was like one of the best experiences I had at West Point, because it was my first true position of leadership at the academy, where I really got to like work and figure out what my leadership style is, and like have that kind of impact on those new cadets. So.
Wait, are you bonding with these people?
In a sense, yes and no. So that's another distinction about leadership too amongst your platoon, is like you want to have that level of professionalism, but not be super friendly, because then they won't take you seriously if you're like, no, we need to actually get this shit done, like do this, and they're like, oh, like come on man, well, you know, because like they're your friends.
Yeah.
But so like you can be friendly and you can have like a relationship with them, but knowing where to cross that line.
Yeah, okay.
So they still take you seriously as their superior.
Okay, what are you doing during the day? Like,
What was my typical day at school?
No, not like when you're leading these people. Like, what's going on? Like, you said we have to get all this shit done.
Okay,
like,
so
are you guys?
It depended was on the schedule. So let's say, I'm gonna think of an example. All right, so like we have to learn basic like rifle marksmanship skills. So like in the Army, the standard is you go to a shooting range and you do 10 or 20, in the prone supported, like laying down with your rifle supported, prone unsupported, and then 10 kneeling.
Shots?
And, yeah, so it's you get a score out of 40.
Oh, so you have to be accurate.
Yeah, so passing is 24. Like you have to get, or 23. You have to get 23 and above.
Okay.
Out of 40.
What happens if you don't redo it?
You basically redo it. So with these new cadets, we're teaching people who have never touched some people never touched a rifle before in their entire life.
Damn.
And getting them to qualify. And so typical day was, wake up, we'd go to morning PT, physical training, like whatever it is, a run, push-ups, pull-ups, whatever. Then breakfast, like shower, breakfast, grab all our gear for the range, go out to the range, they get their brief. They all zero, so that means with your rifle making sure what you see through the sight picture is accurate. So you have to zero your weapon, and then you go and qualify, and then at the range all day, people who don't make it, retesting them, and then lunch, dinner, bed. So like it was dependent like what the day called for, because then like some days would be, all right, now we're testing you on your land navigation skills. Then this day we're testing you on like how you like basic patrolling skills. This day is an issue point. We're getting issued like uniforms for the school year, so like we're gonna be standing in line. So it was all different because there's different things we had to do during the day. But so like another example of a summer detail that we have to do is called CLDT, Cadet Leadership Development Training. And basically it was a 10-day field exercise where we were in our own platoons and we had 2 missions a day, and the platoon leadership changed every day for a grade. So people switched out being the squad leaders, people switched out being the platoon leader, people switched out being the platoon sergeant. And we had a different mission every day, whether it was like, all right, we're going to defend this mountaintop, like enemies coming from the northeast, like at 10 o'clock. Or it would be like, okay, we have to go through this village and we're going to have an attack supposedly from the enemy from our left flank, like set up your defense that way. Or
are you guys
it's like
using...
a giant game of like laser tag. So we have our weapons, but there's blank adapters at the end with like a laser pointer, and we're wearing like laser stuff.
Really?
So that like if we get shot, like you're dead. Like it will beep and you're dead. And
really?
So yeah, so and then we're sleeping in the field, like in the forest every night. So it's for 10 days. We were pretty disgusting. Yeah.
That's fucking sick.
It was super, like, for me, it's actually a lot more fun than I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah.
But so, like, a typical day for that was, waking up, gathering ourselves, eating breakfast. The platoon's leadership briefs us on the mission for the day, go conduct the mission, receive, like, feedback from how we did, lunch, go do another mission, feedback, dinner, settle into our patrol base at night. And we did that for 10 days.
When they're passing the 24 out of 40 test, how many yards away is that, and what rifle are you using?
So we're using an M14 rifle.
And that has like when you're done shooting it has like a little like clip that like comes out the top?
It comes from the bottom. The magazine is in the bottom. And the targets are at different distances. So there's, I think 50 meters is the closest. It's like 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300.
And
they come up at random, like the targets.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do they stay up until you shoot it?
No, they're only up for like a couple seconds.
Are they made out of metal? Like does the
No, they're plastic. So like when they get hit, they fall down.
Got you.
Yeah. But you don't know which one's gonna pop up. So that's what makes it like, you're just like there waiting, and you're like, 200. 300, 150. You know, like.
Dude, that's kind of a far 300 meters. Dude,
that's a hard one to get.
That's like actually far away, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's.
It's like a bright little orange.
You just have an M14 and just fucking dial it on it, and there's a scope on it.
Yes, so we qualify in 2 ways. You can use the iron sights, which is like the little like prong that's already on the weapon, or we use M68s, which is like the little like sight picture with the like cross thing.
Yeah. So are there like, do these people, some of them have never touched a gun before, are they aware of like, they must be trained with some sort of knowledge so there's not a fucking like accidental discharge?
So we obviously, like before we go to the range, we do like weapons familiarization.
Gotcha.
So they need to know how to take apart their weapon and put it back together.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
So you can take part in M14 and put it back together?
Yes.
Dude, okay.
And then weapons familiarization, like we go to like a simulation range, like that's kind of like with lasers again, like in a room, and then we'll take them out to the range.
And then when you get, so you, like when you guys are doing this thing for 10 days and like alternating your position of power and whatnot, what does it like defend this hilltop? Enemies are gonna come attack you? How long does that activity last?
The actual like battle, like if you want to call it, oh man, it's like hard to think because like in the moment you're not like.
Is your adrenaline pumping?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because so they have people they have like enlisted people come up for this training exercise, and they're the enemy per se, and I would say like 10 minutes. Sometimes it can be 15 minutes. Like it really depends on the length of the fight.
Who usually wins, the defenders or attackers?
It depends on the platoon's leadership and the plan, and in my personal experience with my platoon, like we got along very well, and we won most of our battles, if you want to call them that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it really depends on what the leader's plan is. Like, what if you're expecting them to come from your left flank and they end up coming from your right flank? How are you going to adjust? How is that platoon leader going to be like, oh, I need my support by fire over here now? Like,
how big is this mountaintop? Like, if they were coming up from the right flank, could you like see them coming, or do you literally have to run to another side of the mountain?
I would say like Black Hill.
Okay, so you can see people.
But there's trees everywhere. And you're wearing camo, so sometimes you literally cannot see people. And dude, that's crazy. There have been times where I've been like, oh shit, there's a person right there. Because we're also wearing face paint, like. Really? I have a good picture. I wish I could show everyone else. I only have one picture from that detail. Dude, we could show the camera. I think it would work easy. Okay, hold up. This is the only picture I have of me during CLDT, but. Whoa! And that's your gun with like a laser on it? Yeah, so you can't really tell. So there's the blank adapter, so no bullets actually come out. So that is a real gun? This is a real weapon, yeah. Okay. You can kind of see the little red dot. Yeah. Yeah, and then. You have a vest on? Yeah, see that right there, those like, that's that strap. That's like a headshot? Yeah, this straps, like, so the lasers can. Dude, you look like a different print. Here, let me show the camera. That's crazy. Yeah. The face paint is really bad for your skin. Is it? Like, acne-wise. Oh my god. And then try and focus it. Yeah. It might. There we go. Alright, guys, this is Hannah. Yep. So, you guys are getting lunch, dinner, breakfast? Yeah, but in MREs, like, the meal's ready to eat in those, like, plastic. Oh, like, so it's not, you're not sitting around a campfire. No, because if you are sitting around a campfire, fire, smoke, enemies can find you. Enemies. Dude, that's kind of gnarly. Like. Definitely tests some of your classmates. You definitely see like who's kind of a bitch and who's not. it.
Were you one of the only girls?
No, so at West Point, it's about 21% females. Still like low, but in our platoon we had about like 10 girls. So out of 40, yeah, like about a fourth.
Dude, that's a good amount of girls.
Yeah. I mean, it's like numbers keep going up every year, but there have been times like in the classroom I'm the only girl.
Yeah.
And you notice, like as a female, I notice it. I'm like, there are no other girls here. Like,
dude, it's probably like, what is it like being a female in your position? Like naturally you must have a lot of like testosterone filled men, like.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully the guys that I've interacted with and had in my life at school, they've been awesome. Like
really?
I literally, at like a bar, a guy came up to me and called me the C word. And he's
why?
Like, I don't know, he was drunk or something. He's like, you look like a fucking, like, and my friend got up and was like, I'm going to jail tonight. And was literally about to punch this man's face in. And I was like, no, like, don't need to do that. Like, so I know my guy friends have my back. And, like, they will protect me if I need it, you know? But I don't know. It's interesting because, like, definitely some people, like, when a girl is in a leadership position and it comes across at the tone, they're like, oh, she's bossy, she's a bitch. Like, that's a very common theme. But I feel like in my opinion, if I just, like, stand my ground, like, in what I believe in, like, I think a lot of females, too, have the issue where they feel like they have to prove themselves all the time.
Yeah.
And, like, live up to something to prove that they're as good as the guys.
Yeah.
And I try to not to, like, put myself in that mentality because I feel like that's what's going to lead to my downfall. So I'm, like, as long as I can be my, like, authentic self or do what I believe is the right thing, then, like, if someone wants to think I'm a bitch, so be it. But, like, I know I'm not being a bitch.
Yeah.
I think that's my take on it.
Like, do guys hit on you frequently?
Yes. At school, like, there's definitely a lot of times where I'm like, are you being nice to me because you're actually nice? Or are you being nice to me because you just want to fuck me?
So, because you, at school, you guys have your phones on you, so
Well,
that you guys can exchange phone numbers and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I would say if you're a female at West Point or even, like, let's say just in the Army, if you want to get with someone, anyone, it's not that hard because the guys are thirsty.
You can get a bag of dicks for a nickel.
Yeah. My first semester junior year, I definitely had I like to call it my hoe phase.
Really?
Yeah, I was sleeping around.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I can't believe I'm having this conversation with Hannah, dude.
I know, because in high school I was such a prude.
How many people, this might be a little too much for you, but while we're on the subject, how many people did you fuck at West Point?
I would say, I'm trying to do some math here.
Yeah, take your time.
Like around 10, maybe more. Which is not like terrible,
no,
for like some people's standards, but like, yeah, once it was just like, I was a new person every month and I was just like, not.
Dude, that's dope. That's honestly sick. Like,
yeah.
I'm like stoked for you. Like,
I mean, yeah, for me, I'm like, okay, whatever, like I learned a lot from it, like past it, but yeah, no, I know girls who were way worse.
Really?
Oh yeah.
So it sounds like everyone's a little horny.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Oh, and also too, there's like the factor that like you're not allowed to have sex. Like if you get caught having sex in the barracks, you're not kicked out, but you get in like a stupid amount of trouble. So like when you do have sex in the barracks, it's kind of like that like adrenaline factor where you're just like, shouldn't be doing this. Like I get fucked if I get caught.
So it's kind of like a doctor in like a janitor closet in the hospital.
Kind of thing.
Like a nurse or something.
Yeah.
Because that shit happens.
Yeah.
I've been told that happens from doctors. Literally.
I bet, yeah. A lot of sneaking around.
Okay, so did you do 10, like, your freshman year, did you have sex?
Yeah, I had my first boyfriend, or like my first like adult relationship boy. I was dating him for my whole freshman and whole sophomore year.
2 years.
Yeah. Well, yeah, 2 school years.
Did you guys fight?
I mean, yeah, we had our fights, but he broke up with me at the end of my sophomore year.
Were you bummed?
Back then, yeah. I'm over it now.
Yeah, because it's been like 2 years.
Yeah. But in the moment back then, I was super, like, distressed about it. But, so, yeah, I was just with him for those 2 years.
What made you guys break up?
A combination of things. I mean, he's the one that broke up with me, so from what I understand from his point of view, because he was a senior my freshman year, so he's in the position where I am now.
Yeah.
Like, starting my new, like, thing, like, just graduated, like, I think he didn't want to be tied back to West Point anymore.
He's older.
Yeah, and honestly, like, looking back too, it wasn't that I was immature, but I've definitely matured more than I was then, and I think, like, the age difference, again, like, we were at different levels of maturity, and just, like, I think that was it for him. And it was just, like, the distance was hard, the long distance.
Are there barracks at West Point?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how do you date somebody if you can't get caught doing
Oh,
that
people
kind
have
of
sex
stuff?
in the barracks all the time. I mean, I've done it, like...
Yeah. How do you get caught? Like, are there, like...
Because that's...
internal...
Some people snitch.
No.
Yeah, that's the worst. Some people, sometimes, like, people have been walked in on by, like, the wrong person.
No.
Or, like, I've heard of stories of, like, an underclassman, like, a freshman walks in on, like, 2 seniors or 2, like, juniors or whatever.
And
like,
snitches?
yeah.
Oh.
But it's mostly because of snitching that people get caught. So, because also, too, you're not allowed, another rule we have is...
No alcohol.
Yeah, no alcohol in the barracks either, but we have a thing called taps, and so you have to be in your room by 11:30 at night. So if you're out of your room by 11:30 at night, you get in trouble. So, like, you can't just, like, come over to someone's room at night. I mean, you can, but, like, then you're really fucked.
There's gotta be someone coming around, like, monitoring.
Yeah,
Okay.
we do have that.
So you've snuck out before?
I actually have not snuck out.
Is sneaking out riskier than fucking in the barracks?
Well, it's kind of like a double whammy.
Really?
If you get caught having sex in the barracks past.
What if it's before 11:30 though?
Then it's not.
Okay.
It's just kind of like, what regulations are you breaking?
Yeah. Dude, this is the one time in my life where I can see why a rule of, like, no sex is implemented.
Yeah.
Like, it kind of makes sense. Like, you don't want fucking relationships being established with such a serious field of work, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, like, people do date, like, amongst themselves, whatever, at school, and that's fine. But I think it's because also, too, in the barracks, we're living with another person. Like, we're not, it's not like you have your own room. Like, I'm sharing a room with 1 to 2 other people.
and they're dudes.
No, I don't live. No, it's you, like, live with your gender, but, like, my neighbor will be, like, a dude.
Yeah,
Like,
okay.
it's like the hallway is intermixed, but, like, your roommate is either a female for my case.
Got you. That would be bad, actually, if you had to live with dudes, right?
Yeah, no.
That'd be gnarly.
I think so, yeah. So it's just kind of like, I think the regulation is there just because respect of, like, personal space, I think, for people.
Yeah.
And, like, but there are issues with the rule itself because, like, realistically, if you have 4,000 horny 20-year-olds, like, they're gonna have sex. And
Yeah.
if they can only do sex when they are, let's say, a weekend out in the city on pass with their friends, that's when, like, things can be taken to an extreme because also we can't drink, so then people are gonna go get pissed drunk, and then I think that's why at West Point we've had such an issue with, like, sexual assault and all that.
Sexual assault? Mm-hmm. What do you mean?
Like, rape and, like...
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, that's fucked up.
Yeah. Like, I have multiple friends who have been raped at school. And it's because of, I believe, that excess mindset that people have because we are so restricted at school.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, people don't learn to drink
appropriately.
So when they go and do it, they do it in excess and make those bad decisions.
And these are like fucking men working, like being not forced to work. Like I'm assuming you guys are all in relatively good shape.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, dude, that's fucked up. Mm-hmm. You know people that have been raped.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that's crazy. What, like, how does that go down? Like, people...
That's cool. So, like, we do have, like, a support system that, like an army program. Because it's an army-wide thing, too.
Yeah.
Sexual assault is a huge issue in the army. And so, like, you report it. You can report it anonymously. You can report it. You can, like, do a restricted report or an unrestricted report. Like, meaning, like... You can get investigated or not get investigated. Maybe you just wanted to submit like the name so like they know if it's been someone who's like done multiple like cases. Yeah. But yeah, so like the army will, because they take it so seriously, like if you want an open investigation, like there will be an investigation and like there will be like like some people I know have gotten like court-martialed and like...
What's court-martialed?
Like they had like a trial and like
going to jail type shit.
So they do, I would say, they do take it seriously in terms, especially like my last years there, it was something that they definitely put more of an emphasis on.
Are these people like denying what happened? Or are they like, dude, I actually did something really fucked up?
I don't know. Like, I don't know people who are the rapists. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really know those people.
Okay, so does this mostly happen when, what is a pass? I heard you say.
Yeah, so to leave campus, like, you have to take a pass. And you're only granted a certain amount of passes per semester.
How many?
So, as a freshman, you get 1 per semester. As a sophomore, you get 3 per semester. As a junior, you get 5, and as a senior, you get 99.
99 passes?
Which base unlimited passes.
What? So you can go off campus whenever you want as a senior.
Yeah, you just have to put in for pass. So you have to like put it in on a Wednesday so it gets approved by Friday, so you can leave on Friday.
Oh, what? Okay, yeah. So
you can only leave on the weekends.
Only the weekends?
Yeah.
Okay.
To like go spend the night somewhere else, yeah.
And you guys go out in the city.
New York City is our biggest like spot.
New York City.
Yeah, wow. I love New York City. It is like from growing up here, I'm not a big city person.
That's a city.
But like New York City is so fucking cool.
Yeah.
It's like there's just such an energy there and such like a vibe that and it's a different vibe in every part of Manhattan. Like it's unreal. Like I love New York City. The food, just like the parks there, just like some of the like streets with like the brick houses, like brick apartments. The bars at night, Broadway, like it's just such a cool place.
Expensive drinks.
Yeah.
When we were downtown, what were the names of your two friends?
Cam and John.
I shout out Cam and John. Those guys are homies.
They liked you guys homies. Too.
Really?
A lot, yeah.
Dude, Cam was the shorter one, black hair. Okay. He was like, dude, like, a shot in New York's $22. Like, it's $6 here, and he was just fucking like buying us all drinks.
Dude, Cam is the king of New York City.
He's the king of New York City.
In my eyes, he knows the city. He knows all like the like cool like underground like places to go.
That's sick.
Yeah, no, he knows New York City very well.
Was this his first time in Cali?
I know it was John's first time in California. I'm not sure about Cam, but it was their first time in SLO.
Okay. They met a good group of California people then, huh?
Yeah.
Like, were we a good representation
I
of
think
California
so.
kids?
I, like, prefaced like you guys. I was like, these are my friends that I made my bad decisions with.
Really? Okay.
Because Bobby was like the first person I smoked with, the first person I drank with, like.
he'll do that too.
But like, yeah. So I was like, these are my like party friends. Like these are if I want to have a good time with like, to like go drinking and like 4th of July, like those kind of events. I was like, you guys will definitely vibe with these people.
And it seemed like, I hope you guys had a good time.
Oh,
I had a
wow.
damn good time.
I mean, I was the DD and I had a good time.
That was fucking lit, dude.
Like I had a really
crazy.
good time. Yeah.
That was a very fun. That was pint night last Tuesday. 6 days ago.
That was my first time going out in downtown SLO.
No way.
Yeah.
That was your first time in downtown SLO?
Like going out at night to the bars, yeah. Just because, like, obviously turning 21 last year.
Yeah.
And then I don't know why, like when I came home the other times after turning 21, I never really went out.
When's your birthday?
May 12th.
Okay, so you turned 22 last month.
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah, so, and it was interesting because it was my first, it was a quarantine birthday.
Yeah.
But it was honestly one of the best birthdays I've had in a while.
Wait, so that was your first time going downtown SLO?
For drinking, yeah.
And you were sober?
Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy.
I know, we'll have to do another pint night.
So that was, the two dudes you brought with you, that was their first time going, like, downtown SLO, obviously, and your first time as well going downtown SLO.
Yeah.
Dude, that's trippy.
Yeah.
You should have said something.
I didn't think about it. I don't know. But it was a good time. I mean, obviously next time I go, I'll have something to drink. Like, I'll drink.
Yeah, yeah.
But I wanted them to have a good time, so I was like, I'll DD, like, it's fine.
That's fair. That's fair. That's understandable.
But yeah, it was all around good time. They really enjoyed SLO. They're like, this was such a hidden gem.
It is. It really is.
It's like, yeah, my little side of paradise. Like.
Dude, we might have to do a pint night tomorrow night.
We could. I have another West Point friend coming tomorrow at 11:30
PM?
a.m.
Dude,
So we could.
we might have to do a pint night tomorrow night.
Yeah, we could.
And I don't know, we did like absolutely nothing yesterday. Like
Yeah.
today feels like it's gonna be kind of like another like lazy day. Like
Yeah.
get a podcast done. Like I'm gonna go clean the house for like probably 2 hours. Like
Yeah.
I feel like pint night tomorrow would be fun.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm done. I'm
Yeah,
literally
I don't
down as
have any
fuck.
plans with my friend, so we'll have a good time.
Yeah, no, for sure. What was your favorite bar? Oh, we only went to like 2 bars.
Yeah,
huh?
I only went to 2. Just because the lines were super long everywhere else because of COVID, and they can only let some people in, and like.
Dude, did you notice how many people we were like running into?
Yeah.
Like from high school and stuff?
Yeah.
That was fucking weird.
I mean,
Not weird.
that kind of
but
happens when I'm home. I feel like we live in such an area that people just stay.
Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
It literally is the Twilight Zone.
Like people just stay here, which I don't blame them. It's
Yeah.
gorgeous here, but I'm always running into people, which is cool because I like to see how people are doing and.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So I've noticed you definitely, like out of the 4 years you just did at West Point.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, for me, I feel like I see you usually like once or twice a year. Like for sure you come back on summers, for sure you come back on
For
like
Christmas,
winter breaks.
yeah.
And I usually see you like once or twice summer, maybe once winter break.
Yeah, we'll
Like-
run into each other with the guys.
Mutual friends, but at the same time, like I'd call you a friend.
Yeah,
You know?
I would call you a friend. I mean, I have a question for you actually. Compared to how I was in high school and how I am now, like what are some like major differences that you see?
Dude, you seem like a fucking leader, Hannah. Like you seem like you are ready. Dude, you seem like you know what you're doing. You're like in it to win it. like you literally seem like a completely different person. Like 4 or 5 years ago, there's no way we could have even had like.
We couldn't have done this 5 years ago.
No.
Or we could have, but it just would have been weird and nothing to talk about.
You seem to have grown so much as a person. You know what I mean?
Okay, I like to hear that.
Yeah, no, for sure. And like, I don't know, I've never sat down and had like a deep one-on-one conversation.
No.
I don't know if you call this deep, but it's for sure a one-on-one
I'll say,
conversation.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, dude, you are this like rejuvenated person, and like your soul, your spirituality, like you just as like a human, like you've been growing, man. Like I can see it in you. You just graduated from a sick school, it sounds like you got a career lined up, you know?
Yeah.
Like cheers to you.
I'm glad
Hell
to
yeah.
hear that.
And like, dude, you've been talking about like, you've been doing a good job explaining the process and like familiarizing everybody just on some touchy subjects. Sex is a very touchy subject for some people. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. It is.
Yeah.
We talk about rape, honestly.
Yeah.
I definitely have like some more questions, but you asked me that question and that's my answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear it.
I forgot what I was going to say to you. Okay, so, I remember what I was going to say. I was talking about like you like coming back and visiting.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in Fort Bragg, are you going to like be there like is there a winter break, summer break, stuff like that?
No, but so like while in the army you have like leave. Like you'll have like weeks of leave.
Weeks?
Yeah, so I don't know the exact number. I'm not going to pull a number out of my ass because I actually don't know. But like obviously we'll have like Thanksgiving leave, winter leave for like those major holidays. We get like 4-day weekends every month. But it's kind of like any other job. You have like your collective like vacation days that you can like use. So I definitely I know I'll come back for Christmas.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess it just depends on what's going on with like leave and whatnot. If I come back here during the summer, it's like, but like I won't have like a summer vacation like I normally have. Like this is my last summer vacation essentially, like typical one. So.
Did you get into Cal Poly?
I didn't apply anywhere else.
You didn't apply. You could have.
I could have applied. I only applied to West Point. That was the only school.
What happens if you got declined, or there's no way?
So I had my backup plan was, I don't know if you remember in high school, I did like ambulance ride-alongs with San Luis Ambulance. And so if I didn't get in, I would have just gone through the EMT program at Cuesta, work for San Luis Ambulance, and then apply again. Because you can apply to West Point until you're 23.
And you being a girl, they wanted you, huh?
Yeah, to get their number. And also, it also depends too from like where you are in the U.S. So like, they get a high concentration of people from like New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Connecticut applying. Yeah. But from our region of California,
no one.
No, like they'll have a lot of people from the Bay Area and like LA.
Yeah.
But from the Central Coast, like none at all. So it's also dependent on how competitive your region is. So like if I lived in like a suburb in Pennsylvania, it might have been a lot harder for me to get in than being from here. So I had that working for me too.
They want diversity.
Yeah.
Okay.
They definitely, and especially since like my mom, like me having my Hispanic background with my mom, like, cause I definitely put that on my application. But I think that helped too.
Would you recommend people going to West Point?
If they truly do want to go there, yes. Like if they like want to have that leadership, because it's a leadership institution. Like you learn about leadership. Like if you want that and you want to be an Army officer or like see like how the school sets you up for success and like you think you can mentally do it and physically do it and emotionally do it, then I would recommend it to people that if I believe that they could do it.
Okay.
I don't regret going there at all.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's super good.
Yeah, for me, like I would do, if I was like where I was in high school, like I would apply, like I would do it all over again.
You ready for a change of topic?
Sure.
We were talking about guns earlier, and I was like, dude, I have to bring this up.
Okay.
You like guns?
I do like shooting, yes.
What do you think about... There's a giant thing happening right now,
Yeah.
and people do not want there to be guns owned by anybody.
Yeah. Why do I believe it?
No, I'm just saying, like, right now there's literally millions of people that are going, yo, like, the average civilian does not need weapons. We want to take all weapons away. There are people, politicians, that are literally like...
I think, and this is my personal opinion, I think it, like, when people say that they want their weapons for, like, protection and they're living in, like, a suburb somewhere, like, to me, like, the Second Amendment, I think of it as, like, back when it was written, yeah, people lived on plantations, like, bears coming onto their property, like, lifestyle was much more dangerous back then, and so I understand that requirement to have a weapon, but I feel like now it's not the same caliber of, in the sense that, like, I guess also too because from living here, like, I've never felt like I needed a gun to protect myself.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I do see, like, okay, if people want to use them for hunting, totally get it. Like, you should have your hunting rifle, because, like, people go hunting.
Yeah.
I think that's appropriate. I think, like, some people as a sport, they like to work on marksmanship and, like, just go to a range and work on, like, to them that's their sport or what they find enjoyable. I think that's acceptable.
Yeah.
But I do feel like there are some situations where I'm like, I don't really think you need a gun, you know? I think it's just, like, how, like, excessive people can be, too. I don't know. I'm very, like, in the middle about things. Like, okay, I can see that side, but then also I can see this side. But I think when, like, someone in, like, a suburb, someone's like, I need it for protection of my house, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well...
Dude, I think if you want to own a gun, you should have that right. Okay, like, I'm not even gonna be like, oh, the Second Amendment. No, like, I'm just... Let's pretend the Second Amendment doesn't exist. Let's pretend like that's not even a thing. I still think, no matter what, whether it's based on writing hundreds of years ago or not, like, I just think for safety, everybody should be given the opportunity and the chance to have a fucking gun to protect themselves from the gnarly shit that's going on right now. Mm-hmm. And like, dude, if someone breaks into your house, I think you should be able to shoot them. I think you should have access to a gun and should be able to, like, defend your property that you've been working your entire life for.
Yeah.
I think, you know what I mean? Like, I think you should be able to say, like, and like obviously there's gonna be, like, irresponsible people, but
I think that's the issue, is, like...
How do we fix that?
I don't... That's such a heavy question, because it's, like, I don't have the answers to everything.
You don't have the answer to that?
But... I mean, because yes, I understand that, like, that point of view. Like, yes, I should have the right to own it if I want it. If I don't, then I don't. Like,
yeah.
But then there's, like, some people that I feel like shouldn't own a gun, just based on, like, trends of, like school shootings and whatnot, like mental health, like people who are mentally unstable.
Yeah.
Or I think that's, like, the biggest thing is, like, are you fit to own a weapon that kind of, I think I always think of, like, the Spider-Man, like, quote, like, with great power comes great responsibility.
That's very true.
Like, can this person be a responsible weapon owner?
Yeah.
And I think that's but then it's like, okay, then how do you monitor that, or how do you assess that? How do you assess someone's responsibilityness?
Yeah. Because that'd be weird to be a gun owner and then have these, like, 6-month annual checkups where people come and, like, say, hey, like, you're mentally stable. And the thing is, if you are mentally unstable, and you are owning a gun and like you can just snap at any point, how do you even like range that?
Or
and,
like let's say you're mentally stable but you have someone living in your house that isn't, and they steal the gun, and then so I don't think it's something we'll ever, because there's so many circulating opinions about it and ideas and solutions. I don't think we'll ever really like reach a utopia where the answer is solved and people can own guns and everyone's okay with it. I don't think we'll ever reach that point.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I've never really thought too much about
Really?
No, because it's like, yeah, I have fun when we are at the range and we're shooting targets. Like, yeah, I have fun with that. But it's not something that I'm going to go out of my way to like, oh, I'm going to go actually buy my own gun and like do this often. Like, I'm not at that level. Like, I'm like, okay, I have fun with this, but...
Do you think you would ever like have a house and like have like your own personal weapon? No? Never?
No. I don't
really?
see myself, no.
Dude, yeah, I'd be afraid of doing that. Like, I would be terrified to, like, have a house and not have, like, a gun in it. Like, I was in Oregon for 9 months, and I literally, like, had a 12 gauge to the side of my bed, and I literally, like, a good amount of the time I slept with a 9mm handgun, like, on the bed next to me. Like, I don't fuck around with people, like, sneaking up. Like, dude, there was... Like, Oregon, it's definitely, like, more dense, and there's a lot more, like, woods and wilderness and stuff, and there were just times where I was like, dude, like, the weirdest thing could happen here, you know what I mean?
I think...
And, like, dude, we had times where people, like, came on our property, or, like, my dad came home, and there was, like, some dude, like, on our, like, bench, and he had, like, a knife on him and stuff, and it's like, dude, you need a gun for situations like that, you know what I mean?
I guess because I've never experienced situations like that, but I also kind of, like... try not to live my life in fear.
Yeah.
Like, I guess I can't just be worried about, like, oh my goodness, I'm in California, there's gonna be, what if there's an earthquake that, like, blah, 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 you know? Like, what if there's gonna be a tsunami? You know, like, I can't, and those are extremes, obviously. But, I don't know, I just try and not live in fear.
Yeah.
Same with, like, all this, like, COVID stuff, too. Like, I've seen the extremes where people are being like absolute germaphobes and blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, I wear a mask when I go into public spaces, like I wash my hands, I cough into my elbow, I like use hand sanitizer, like I do what I think is appropriate for as me as like a human in society, but I can't live in life being scared. Like, let me wear a hazmat suit to the airport and I can't enjoy life with that mentality, I guess.
That makes sense. What, were you guys, like, affected by Corona?
Like, my family?
Or, like, you had to fly here on a plane to, like, get back home, right? Like, how was that? Like, how was graduation? Was it, like, some virtual thing?
So, no, we didn't have virtual graduation. We, when we were back at school, because they brought us back for 2 weeks to, like isolate us, I guess, for now.
Yeah.
They did have precautions, like we had to wear masks outside, like we had to wash our hands before meals, like at a table there was only 3 people spread out. We all got tested. If you were hanging out with people outside, you had to be 6 feet apart or wearing a mask. Couldn't play like frisbee or anything, or like because you'd be touching the frisbee, whatever. But and then at graduation, we like all of our chairs were 6 feet apart from each other.
Damn.
Yeah, and so yeah, there's those precautions. But honestly, like flying was not bad at all. Like I had a whole rose to myself on the plane. Like I mean, I obviously had my own wipes and I wiped things down. And on the flights, they make you wear a mask for the whole flight.
You can't take it off?
Mm-mm. Which is like whatever. And I mean, I saw them like cleaning the planes and like, but it was trippy. Like when I was flying out of San Francisco, like the airport was like deserted. It was so weird because I've never seen San Francisco, like the airport like that. And like a lot of like the airport shops were closed and like the restaurants were closed. And like on the airplane, they didn't do like the beverage services. they just kind of gave you like a little bag with like a water bottle and some snacks and a wipe, and that's it.
A wipe?
A wipe, yeah. Like
was it like a packaged wipe or like
a packet?
unpackaged?
Yeah, it's packaged.
Just one singular wipe.
Yeah.
What was the packaging like?
Like a kind of like an alcohol wipe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Was it the size of an alcohol prep pad or like bigger?
No, it was like nothing.
Okay.
But yeah, that was what our flying was like. Really wasn't bad.
What are some of your like big goals that you like like if you died, what would like, and you didn't accomplish a few things, like what are some of those things you would just be like bummed that you like didn't do or you didn't make happen? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I want to get married and have a family.
It seems like a lot of people want to do that, huh?
Like I do want that.
Okay.
So I do want a family, get married, have kids. This is something I really want to do. I really want to work in an aquarium. Like, I know the Monterey Bay Aquarium is like I want to work there so badly one day. Who knows, maybe a retirement job. Like, I love marine life so much. I know I didn't really take the path to like really set me up well for that, but who knows what the future holds. And I really just want to travel a lot. There's a lot of places on my bucket list. I really want to go to Egypt. I really want to go to Greece. I really want to go to Portugal. I really want to go to like some South American countries like Galapagos. I'd say like those are like my biggest things. It's like traveling and like a family.
For sure, a family.
Yeah.
What age would you like want to get married?
Probably like late 20s.
So this is like
a
coming
10-year time frame.
Okay.
Probably.
Would you get married in your late 30s?
I mean, if that's when I find that person, I guess.
Damn, okay. Who is like, what is the person like you're looking for to like marry? Like someone in the military type person?
I kind of see myself with someone in the military.
Yeah.
I don't know, I've tried talking to civilian guys.
Civilian guys?
Civilian is like not military.
Okay.
And I don't know, it was nice, I guess, but like it's just hard to explain things when it's easier when someone already knows what you're going through and understands like the acronyms when you speak and just like isms and I guess that's another too, like we talked about the topic of like stability. If I were to marry someone in the military, like that stability, like okay, they have a job, like they get housing paid, they have health insurance, like if I were to get out of the military and they're still in, like we'd have a place to stay, you know, like in the back of my mind it's that stability thing again, instinctually. But I guess for me the ideal person, like something I learned from my ex is like family, like they want to like integrate and love my family. Like I was like homies with my ex's brothers and like mom. Okay. And he didn't really, not saying he didn't like really fuck with my family, but he didn't like make an effort to like get to know them, which bothered me.
Really?
Yeah.
Why did it bother you?
Because like why wouldn't you? Like why don't you want to talk with my like little brother or, you know, like I go and get my nails done with your mom.
Really?
Yeah, like I would hang out with his mom or I would hang out with his brother like without him being there and like
really?
Yeah, like I was friends with them. And he didn't really, like, care, not to, like, try with my family.
He was like, fuck, this girl won't leave my family alone.
But, like, I don't know. So for me, that kind of opened my eyes to how important that was. So when someone's like, oh, I want to, like, meet your family. I want to, like, hang out with them. I want to meet your friends from back home. Like, to me, that means so much. Yeah. And then I guess too, I mean, obviously people want someone who's like nice, funny, like brings out the best in you, like athletic, loves to travel, like I guess those are like my biggest things. And then obviously too, like we've talked about this topic already, but like if I'm physically attracted to them, like
you have to be.
Like I think if you have healthy sex with someone, like that makes
That's honestly one of the big, like, the big fucking things, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be physically attracted to someone.
Because there have been dudes where, like, I was into them, and then we had sex and it wasn't good, and I immediately was not into them anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like that's like a big thing. And you sound, like, selfish if you're like, it's not fun being with somebody that's, like, dude, this sounds offensive right now, you know what I mean? But, like, everybody slowly learns what they want to do, what they want to be like how they fuck in bed, you know what I mean? Like, it's important to have, like, a dope connection and just, like, so you want to do it multiple times a day.
Yeah.
Like, let's be honest, if you're having sex multiple times a day, dude, you are naturally just going to be, like, a happier person. Like, you're, like, literally your brain
the
is
endorphins.
Communicating with itself and the rest of your
and
body.
also too, like, having healthy sex with them, like, you can comfortably, like, talk with them, communicate, be like, hey, let's try this, or like, oh no, I don't fuck with that, or like, wait, can you do this instead? Like, that's important too.
Yeah.
So I guess, like, all those components would make up, like, a person for me. That's, like, ideal for me.
What do you want to, like, so after your 5 years are up, what's next? Are you gonna stay in the military?
If I like it.
Really? Dude, what if you, like, fucking...
If I hate it, then I'll leave.
What if you became, like, some gnarly, like, fucking commander person?
Then I'm a fucking gnarly commander person. I don't know. I kind of like leaving that unknown.
Really? You literally do not know and you're completely open to staying after the 5 years, or, like, coming, like...
Whatever I feel like doing. Because it's like I already have this much of my life figured out.
Yeah.
Why do I have to, like, set up a 20-year plan? You know, like...
Dude, you look like you can work in an aquarium right now.
I know.
Like, with the overalls and,
At
like, the
school,
glasses.
people call me, granola. They're like, you're a hippie. I'm like, no, I'm not. If you saw the people back home, I would not look like a hippie to you. But I was definitely, like, I would say back at school, unique to some people, or they had not met people like me before. Like
West Coast versus East Coast.
Yeah. But yeah, that was just definitely something, like, I tried to maintain to, like, still be my authentic self, and, like, in whatever I do, whether it's, like, being in the military or fucking working at an aquarium.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You gotta do something you love, too.
Yeah, because if you don't love your job, then it's not, like, you should love work. It shouldn't feel like work to you. At least in my opinion. I mean, sometimes you do have to grind to, like, get to an end goal that you want, and I completely understand that. But I think, and ultimately, you should enjoy what you're doing.
Dude, it's crazy because there's a lot of people that, like, just go down these routes and they really have no idea what, like, either what it takes, or they thought it was going to become something completely else, or they dislike it and they don't want to do it anymore, but they're still doing it because they already feel like they're so invested.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've met people like that. There's, like, some people who would show up to West Point and they're, like, 3 years in and they're like, I don't actually really want to do this, but they're too scared to leave because they've already committed so much time.
And they have 5 more years.
Yeah.
How do you prevent that from happening? Like, to the point where you're 3 years through college, you have another year, you get a bachelor's degree, and then you have a 5-year commitment. Like, how do you
leave that? Is that what you're asking?
No, not even how you leave it. Like, how do you prevent that from happening? Like, does someone need to have more knowledge on like what they're about to get into? Like, more, like, fields?
I mean, yeah, I think definitely when you, let's say, like, in the case of West Point, you should know what you're getting into when you first show up, and, like, what kind of school it is, and, like, what it entails. But I think also, too, having moments of, like, self-reflection. I think that's a big thing. Like, I write in a journal. I've been doing it since I was 11.
Really?
Yeah. I'm on my 5th journal right now.
How many pages are each journal?
Oh, I don't know, like 100, 150.
Damn. Have you read, like, do you go
Reading
back
is trippy on some of, like,
Dude,
my middle
that's
school ones. My
crazy.
middle school one's so cringy.
That's
'Cause
your
I-
fucking brain that you're
Yeah.
like evaluating.
Yeah, like
your
seeing my
vocabulary.
mental states
What?
and like, so that's like a form of self-reflection too. But I would say like definitely, even if you know what you're getting into going into that school, like maybe after a year it's just not for you, and like I think acknowledging those feelings and acknowledging like, hey, like I'm actually really not into this anymore. It's not what I thought it was gonna be, and so I think kind of giving yourself the time to think like, all right, what am I doing with my life? Is this what I want to be doing? Am I happy? And then like if you answer like no to like that, then like, okay, then what will make me happy? I think like having that sort of mental talk with yourself about your current state. I think that's important.
A common one is people doing the doctor route and they don't know that after they graduate they have like 8 more years of some type of like specialty work that they literally have to like grind,
School for, and
I know someone who's doing the doctor route right now, and it seems like they're really fucking into it. They're an older person, you know what I mean? So they've been in the field for a while, and then I feel like there's some other people that like, I don't know if they want to do it, you know what I mean? It's crazy shit, because like that's your fucking life, and it costs a shit fuck ton of money to do that route, you know what I mean?
I think so, yeah. It's just like evaluating where you are, and also kind of like learning to accept like, hey, it's okay if this is not for me anymore.
Yeah.
I think that like there's people that after like 2 years at West Point, they're like, yeah, I could keep up this path and it would lead me to an amazing opportunity, an amazing like job or whatever, but I'm not happy with. And I've seen people leave and like seeing like still following them on social media and seeing how much better they seem. Like I think it's like to realize like it's okay to like leave that.
Yeah.
It's okay to like if it's your mental like health and happiness on the line, like as cliche as that sounds, but like it really does matter, because then it really changes your outlook and like how your performance.
Yeah. Did you make like, do you have a best friend?
I like to think I have many best friends. Like I have my best friend from back here, like my best friends at school, my best friends from like sport. I don't know, like I like to tell people like the relationships that I have with these people are different. Like my relationship with my best friend from back home is different from my relationship with like my best friend at school.
Yeah.
In a sense, like yeah, we're best friends and we share things, but like just it's just a different connection.
Yeah.
And so in my mind, I can't value a connection more than someone else's connection, if that makes sense.
No, I
like I'm not gonna say like, oh yeah, we're best, like you're my friend, but you're my best friend, like I'm gonna put you above everyone. And because there are people that I do everything with, and people that I like, I guess would fit that like mold of like the best friend, but I call most of my friends my best friends.
If you had to like pick one though, could you do it, or is it literally like
that would be really hard.
You couldn't do it?
No.
That's not your personality?
No.
Let me swap around the question a little bit.
Okay.
Are you somebody's best friend? Like, do you have that, like, do you know you're somebody's best friend?
Yes.
Really?
Mm-hmm. But I think it's just on like an outlook of how like, I don't know, like for me, I'm a very sociable people person.
Yeah.
So to me, I guess like quote unquote have a lot of best friends.
Yeah.
But I know some people who keep their inner circle small.
Yeah.
And like, to me, like our relationship is their like, not priority, but like their best relationship they have with a person. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But like for me, like I just don't want to prioritize. Like at school, I have like, you know, like one of my female best friends, and then I have one of my male best friends. And I'm like, I can't compare. I'm not gonna compare my relationship with you two because they're so different, and I don't value one more than the other. Because to me, it's all equal.
What group of people do you like more? Central Coast kids, West Point kids?
Oh, this is hard. Because I feel like I don't want to choose again, because it's like the people from here know me from like Nick Nelms. He's known me since I was 2.
Yeah.
Like we're like I like to tell people, like, we're, like, siblings, like, twin siblings. Like,
You guys are.
He was, like, my twin brother growing up.
Yeah.
And that's such a different relationship than, like, my friend, like, one of my best friends back at school.
Yeah.
And so, because they know me on different levels. Like, I would say my best friends back at school know me maybe more on a deeper, like, personal level. But just, like, background of my social upbringings and all that. Like, my friends back home have seen me grow as an individual from elementary school to now.
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't say I could pick a favorite, but I would say that the people that I've met at West Point, like, that group of friends, definitely, because, like, I would say, like, in our 20s, this is such a developmental time of life.
It really
they
is.
know me better because
The West Point.
Yeah.
You spent more of your 20s with them than over here.
most of my, like, developmental, like,
Yeah.
like, socially and, like, personally, and, like, those, like, years of trial and error and, like, hardships, and, like,
Yeah.
they've seen that side of me more so than, like Bobby and Keelan,
Yeah.
you know?
You're good friends with Bobby and Keelan.
Yeah.
Which is dope. They're good people.
They are. And I think it's funny, too, like, our Central Coast group, everyone's had my mom as a teacher.
Yeah.
And that just, like, makes it all the more fun.
Yeah.
Because, like, my mom, like, my family knows you guys. Like, my mom's just meeting all of my, like,
West Point.
West Point friends and doesn't know them, like, the way she knows, like, my cross-country teammates and,
Yeah. Yeah.
like, the Morro Bay crew and, like... So, yeah, I think every relationship has its own, like, wavelength, and it's all not comparable in my eyes.
Do you like marijuana?
I do.
Really?
I do.
When was the last time you smoked it? Or, like, can I even ask you this question? Like, are you being drug tested?
I am being drug tested when I get back.
To North Carolina?
Yeah, to my first duties. Yeah, like, you get regularly drug tested.
Do you go next month? Or
In
end of
August,
summer?
August 2nd.
August 2nd. So, like, all of July. So you have, like, 5 weeks? 6 weeks?
Yeah.
Dang, dude. And then it starts.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Real life shit.
For some reason, marijuana is still this, like, big illegal thing that gets, like, talked about and fought against. And we were talking about, like, why is it this horrible thing to have, but yet
Yeah.
people can literally drink themselves to death with alcohol.
Yeah.
Chewing tobacco, nicotine, cigarettes, e-cigs, vaping, like, that's all okay, but, and I think those things, like, fuck with you gnarlier, like, long-term, short-term than marijuana does, you know what I mean? Like, dude, marijuana is, like a healing thing, literally, for your body, like,
Yeah.
THC, CBD oil,
Like, that's,
it's,
like, CBD and all that stuff has been on the rise
Yeah.
right now. Like, even, like, our family friends, like my mom and whatever,
Yeah.
they're like, oh, like, I'm gonna take this CBD because, like, this hurts, or, like, I think there's a lot of properties to it that are beneficial. But, yeah, I don't know why it's not a thing.
Do you think it's because there's so many older generation people that are still in charge of politics, and, like, our generation hasn't really, like, gotten into office yet? We're still in our young 20s,
yeah,
you know?
I think that's an aspect for sure. I mean, like, the people in office now, they're, you know, the boomer generation, baby boomers, and that time frame is just so different.
It really is, huh?
So different from now. I mean, like just even looking at, so, like, my dad, like, he's
Anti-marijuana.
yeah, and he's from the boomer generation, and it's, I mean, obviously I hear his opinions and whatnot, and not all the time I agree with them.
Yeah.
Just kind of, like, let him, like, vent to me, whatever, talk back to him when it's necessary. But it is interesting to see that kind of different opinion. But yeah, I think once our generation is in those positions of power and decision-making roles, I think things will be different. For sure.
That's good. Their change is a necessity.
So,
Yeah, I don't know. Things like like drug laws, and especially with marijuana, like I definitely think there needs to be a big amount of change for that. You know what I mean?
I think the reason also too we haven't seen a lot of change with it is that it's not put as like a high priority issue that needs to be reviewed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I think there's a lot of other things that are put as more of a priority in terms of like law changing and regulation changing, and so I don't really see it anytime soon being dealt with, but I do believe that it eventually will.
And to give you guys a reference, I haven't smoked since August 2019, so I'm going like on a year without smoking, and I'm still fucking like advocating so hard for these rights. You know what I mean? Like,
because it's just that kind of like, if people want to do it, like sure, like you have seen people been responsible with it. You've seen people like, you know, not abuse it and not. I guess like that's what my train of thought is kind of like.
yeah.
Even though like you don't partake in it yourself anymore.
Yeah.
Like you still like empathize with those people or understand where they're coming from or like what they believe in. And I think that's something too our generation I've noticed is, at least with the people I've interacted with and have seen, we are more empathetic for other people's like rights and other people's like standing up for them and like supportive. At least, like I said, at least with the people I've interacted with.
Yeah.
I don't think, like, in our community, like, we live in a bubble in the sense that, like, we understand social issues going on. We understand, like, what we need to fight for. We do speak up for each other. I mean, I can't say, that I could be saying something completely different if I were from the South or, like, a different community. But at least in the community that I've interacted with.
Do you think it's crazy that like someone can do something really like break one of the thousands of like really just dumb, pointless laws we have like 30 years ago and just like have that on their record for like literally forever and like literally be declined jobs from the competition from overpopulation? You know, you get two applications. I've never seen these people in my life. I'm not even having an interview with them yet. Like we're not even at that point. I'm looking at two applications or resumes, whatever. This one is clean. This one has a record on it from 30 years ago. This guy might be a 10 times harder worker and made some stupid decision when he was fucking 18 plus a couple days. You know what I mean? Like, and this application or resume, whatever, it just gets thrown out the window. And the person that's going to get the job interview, this could be some person that's fucking not.
They could have done the same thing and just not gotten caught.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't like that.
To me personally, I think you learn a lot more about a person with face-to-face interactions.
Yeah.
You can't really just rely on paper. And I understand that maybe for some job processes that's not feasible because of the influx of applications that they get. They have to filter through. They can't meet with everyone. But on the other hand, like I said, I'm very like middle. Like I see like both sides to things. But yes, I do essentially think that's very unfair and like, because I do also believe in like second chances.
Dude, second chances are huge, huh?
Because I have seen people change like completely. And I know I've relied on second chances before, like whether it's with like in a friendship or like a job interacting with people. Like if I messed up, like I know I've messed up. There's things that I'm not proud of or things that I like know I shouldn't have done or said, but I relied on a second chance to move past it and learn from it. So I do believe in that. I also think it's how a person reacts or responds to getting that second chance, or what they're like if they can actually learn from their mistakes.
Yeah.
And acknowledging their mistakes.
Is it is it out of your like question in your life? Like, would you ever do something like in some sort of like political like office, some type of decision making for like the people of the country? Would you ever do something like that? Or is that literally like not up your alleyway?
No.
No?
No. I've never really dabbled with that.
Would you ever?
I don't know. I can't speak for future Hannah right now.
Yeah.
But if, I mean, that is a path that like is offered and like has presented itself, like, yeah, maybe. But as of right now, like me mentally right now, no. I haven't thought about it.
Have you ever had problems like you being in charge of like a platoon? Have you ever had like any sort of like leadership problems or like them not fucking with you because of something like?
Mhm.
Like give me a situation.
So during the school year, we also have positions, like job positions. And so first semester of my junior year, I was a platoon sergeant. So I was in charge of 28 people. And I remember so like I said before, a platoon sergeant's in charge of like standards, discipline, like things like that. And so we clean our own like living areas.
Yeah.
And so my platoon, we have our platoon area, like it's a hallway, a bathroom, and like our collab room that we have to clean. And I remember one morning, I think I had morning practice, so I wasn't gonna be at morning cleaning. And I said, hey, for this morning, all I ask is you guys to mop the hallway and take out the trash. All you guys need to do, like simple task, like really not that hard for 28 people to do, you know? You don't even actually need 28 people to do that.
Could you do it with 4 people, 1 person?
Probably like 5 people.
Is it a big hallway?
No, it was half a hallway.
Okay.
And I come back and I see that the hallway was not mopped. They only took out the trash. So, like at morning formation, I pull in everyone and I said, and that was like kind of like my first like moment of like actually being very like tough, I guess. And I was like, hey, I asked you guys to do 2 simple things, and I don't want to hear a bullshit excuse as to why you didn't do it, because it literally, we were overmanned already with it, and it's not that hard to mop a freaking hallway and to take out the trash. And yes, you did take out the trash, but to me, it's really disrespectful as your platoon sergeant for you guys to not have done such a simple task. And so, giving that kind of talk, and then someone actually like later in the day was like, hey, I mopped the hallway, like I did it. And like,
oh, they actually did?
Yeah, they did it on their own.
Oh, after
I had that discussion to the platoon. And I told them, I was like, hey, I feel really disrespected right now because we have morning cleaning. This is part of our duty for the whole company. Like, this is like the overall like big picture. It's not just like, oh, we need to mop it just to mop it, but we need to mop it because later this week we have a common areas inspection. So we're setting ourselves up for failure, and we're also setting up our company up for failure because you couldn't mop a freaking half of a hallway. Yeah. And so that was one time where I definitely had to like speak up about people not doing what I had instructed them to do.
Were you nervous to do this?
A little bit, because like obviously public speaking is something you have to like. Yeah. Because and peer leadership is the hardest type of leadership, and so even though I was talking to freshmen and sophomores, because I was a junior at the time. Yeah. And they weren't necessarily like my peers or like my subordinates. Yeah. It still was difficult because it's like some of them were my age, like, and like some of them I was like friends with, so it was like, but no, I was like, okay, you have to realize I'm not talking to you as Hannah, your friend. I'm talking to Hannah as your platoon sergeant. Like, we have to get this done to make for mission like success.
You were in platoon mode, or you were in like.
I was platoon sergeant.
You were in army mode. You were literally like, hey, like I'm here right now, like I need to get this done, this said.
Yeah. So I guess like that was like a big, and after that, honestly, people were like a lot more responsive and like another time. So I tried to be really fair with morning cleaning because it sucks waking up at 6 a.m. to freaking clean. Like, no one wants to do that.
Yeah.
Like, trust me, no one wants to do that. So, like, I would make sure, like, okay, Mondays and, like, Wednesdays was the freshmen and sophomores. Like, the juniors and the freshmen, like, have to clean every day. Like, that's just, like,
every day.
That's just, like, a ritual that, like, tradition. So I was like, and then the juniors will help clean on Thursdays and Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then Fridays, like, we'll take the day off. Like, you know, I was, like, trying to be really fair with, like, our cleaning schedule. And I trusted them, so I didn't show up every morning. I only showed up on the days juniors went because I trusted them to get the job done.
Were they getting it done?
They were for some time, and then they stopped showing up. So one morning I would do surprise, like, spot checks.
Really?
So one morning I showed up, and no, like, only the freshmen were there, and a couple of the sophomores were there. And I told them from the beginning of day one, if you don't show up to morning cleaning, I will write you. It's called a negative COR, cadet observation report, and basically it's like you write the report on what happened, and it gets sent up to like the officer in charge of the company. And so I told them, if you don't show up to morning cleaning, I will write you an NCOR. And I did. I wrote 13 negative CORs that morning.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You knew everybody's names.
Yeah.
And what to.
And
so you were expecting.
Because I didn't want to. So we learned that if you threaten something.
Yeah.
You have to go through with it. Because if you don't, then they're gonna be like, oh, she's just all talk and is just a bitch or whatever. So I said, hey, if you don't do this, I'm gonna do this. And I did do it, and then afterwards they were like, "Oh shit, she's serious!" Like,
damn.
And everyone started showing up to morning cleaning, and I never had an issue with it again.
How long do you you know how you did like a surprise visit before that? Do you think for like weeks they weren't showing up?
I think it was like a period of like 2 weeks, because
Okay.
I would because the platoon leader would spot check too.
So you came and you fucking laid down the
because
gavel.
that's what my job was.
Yeah.
Standards, discipline, and like.
So that means you had to wake up early and go check on them.
Yeah. So it's all. There's just like lots of little leadership things that you learn about, like with interacting with people. What works? How do you get people to be motivated to do things? How do you get people to stay on track with the mission, like in mind? Because like obviously we're doing things that suck. Like no one wants to be scrubbing a toilet at 6 a.m. Like honest to God, I don't want to do it. Like,
yeah.
But I know that I like have to do it.
Are you in uniform when you're doing this?
Mhm.
So you wake up, you put on what is a uniform?
Well, we have multiple uniforms. So you have your PT uniform, like the one you work out in, and then you have your ACUs, which is the camo print one, and then we have like more formal uniforms, like button-down shirts with like pants, like slacks, and like. But for the mornings, we just wear PTs because they're more comfortable and like.
And everyone's wearing the same thing, different sizes.
Yeah.
What does PT look like? Camo, white, black.
The PT uniforms are just like a black shirt in block letters that says Army in yellow, and then like the black shorts, and like on the bottom corner it says Army in yellow, and then wear white or black running socks and running shoes. So very like standard, very uniform.
Is it freezing cold?
In New York?
Yeah.
In the winter. In the summer, it's stupid hot and humid.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
And the fall is beautiful.
Really?
I got to really like learn about the seasons living on the Northeast.
Because they have like gnarly seasons.
Yeah, like the trees turn orange. Like fall is gorgeous. But the winters, I hate living in snow. I couldn't do it.
Did you ever go to Central Park? Is that what it's called? Mm-hmm. Is that a dope place?
Central Park's cool, yeah, it's huge. It's beautiful. I've been to a concert out there.
Really?
Yeah. It's really nice.
There's like police officers on like horseback?
I've seen like maybe one or two, but there's like buggies with like horse-drawn buggies, like carriages that you have to pay for, obviously, but.
Yeah. So how do you guys do like laundry and stuff when you're living in the barracks?
We have laundry machines in the barracks. You have to pay for them, but
You have to pay for them? They don't pay them for you?
Because the cadet laundry service, which is that they pay for, no one trusts it. They lose your shit, like.
They lose your shit?
Yeah, and it's
Why?
really unreliable because just like if 4,000 people are sending in stuff, I don't know. laundry to me is like a very like personal thing. Like I want to do my
Yeah.
own laundry. Like end of story. I will pay the $250 it is for the washer.
Damn. Okay.
A week. Yeah.
Did you ever get like when you're in the barracks, you get, I'm assuming, good food?
No, our mess hall was terrible.
Really? Why?
I mean, the food was better. It got better my time there, because it's, I mean, like everything at West Point is like funded with government money, like tax dollars, and so if you have to feed 4,000 people, that's
It's
a lot.
be
They're gonna
canned food.
not canned, but not good food at all. Like the avocados, this pains me. They were like vacuums, like cut in half and like vacuum sealed in like plastic. It was so gross. Like,
Really?
yeah, like all the food there is like basically like heated up. Like
Yeah.
it's not fresh. Like very disappointing, especially being so spoiled here with
Yeah.
like such good food.
Yeah, dude, we honestly have some really good restaurants in
Oh.
California, let alone
And just like the fresh
here.
produce and like it's insane.
What's your favorite restaurant in SLO County?
Depends on the mood, but I love Shine.
Dude, Shine Coffee is good.
I love Shine. Like I feel so good after eating there. Like I feel full, but like healthy full and not like heavy. It's not like heavy, and just like the vibe there. And I every time someone comes to visit me here, I take them there, cause like it's just unlike anywhere else you can go.
What? What is that one thing? Like those rolls that
The spring rolls, that's all I
those are
get.
so fire. And it's like 3 big ones for like
Yeah,
$10, right?
and then I always get the Karma Chameleon smoothie because it's super good. It's like avocado and like spinach and mango, and they put cayenne pepper in it, so it has a little like bit of a spice at the
Okay.
end. Oh my god, it's so fire.
Dude, yeah, I know that. That place is good. That place is super
Yeah.
fire. Cam and John
Mm-hmm.
were here. One of them is in infantryman.
Infantry, yeah.
We talked about that downtown
Yeah.
last week. And that's Cam.
Yeah.
So is Cam going to like go across seas and like fight bad guys with like assault rifles?
So, I mean, like, if you want to put it in very simple terms, like, I guess, yes. But, like, any branch will get deployed overseas.
Could
But-
you get deployed overseas?
Yes. It's not based on your job, it's based on the unit that you're with.
Okay.
So, because there's, like, a rotation cycle between all the units. And so, when a unit goes and deploys, like, everyone in that unit goes.
Yeah.
So no matter what their job is. So, but like Cam, as an infantry platoon leader, I guess he fits more so that profile of like the, on the front line with the weapons, meant like picture that people imagine.
Yeah. So he's doing completely different training than you're doing.
Yes.
Okay.
And then John, he's gonna be an aviator. He's gonna be flying helicopters.
Whoa.
So he has to go to flight school, and like it's a completely different like
Yeah.
training than the John or Cam and I.
So say you sign up for the military, is anybody safe from never being deployed, or is there is a small chance that at any given time we can go to war and everybody
Yeah.
will go?
Yeah, you can't really
Okay.
people like will escape deployments and whatnot, but like realistically you'll probably get deployed at least once.
Do you think in our lifetime we're going to see World War III?
I think so.
Do you think so? Do you think it's going to be fought with weapons of mass destruction?
With like missiles, yeah.
That's scary.
Especially with like China on our horizon. That's their
What's up with China right now? What is China doing?
China's just I mean, I'm not like an expert on the subject, but like based on like briefs that we've had and like talking with other people, like China's one of our biggest threats right now.
Why?
Just because the amount of like power that they have and like the weapons that they have, and also too how much the United States relies on them with like, if you think about it, so many products we have are made there. Like
We're importing.
We have such a reliance on them.
Dude, so if they cut us off, are we done?
Maybe like economically we'll definitely be suffering, but
Do we have a badass military?
yeah,
Like, are we number one?
that's what I've been told.
What, like, who... Is it unfair to ask you, like, who are, like, the bad countries right now that are, like, actually trying to
I just
destroy
don't
the
think
planet?
I'm like not say well educated. I just don't feel like I know enough on the topic to really make a firm like decision or like answer.
Me being the average civilian, I'm like afraid when someone says like North Korea, because aren't they like doing horrible thing? Like isn't it like a dictatorship over there? Because I know I'm not quizzing you or anything. Like I literally, you know more about this shit than I do. Like guaranteed. I don't read up on this, but like
it's communism.
It's communism, and they're like starving, and it's a fucking dictatorship, and like neighbors tell on neighbors, and like I smoke weed.
I do too.
I smoke weed.
I was like
like with Kim Jong-un being a dictator, he can just go through the neighborhood and like point at a house and be like, kill them, and no questions are asked. So in my mind, I look at that and I'm like, okay, that's a bad country. That's like a Germany World War II, like Hitler status. Like, hey, they're trying to take shit over.
Yeah.
Is China in that same boat?
I don't know enough to.
Okay.
And that's like bad on my part, because I do know like a lot of people, my classmates are a lot more educated on that subject, and I just personally like don't.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's not my fault for not really knowing. But I think it's also too because I just don't really, not that I don't want to know, I just would rather spend my free time doing other stuff, reading on other things, and like, but yeah, I don't really know.
So you're the wrong person to have this conversation with
I would say
about like
so.
other countries and like global
Yeah, I
dominance.
think you should have asked like John and Cam.
They know about that shit?
More so than I do.
And then last question.
Okay.
And then I'll let you go.
Okay.
And this might be one of those things that you just say, fucking, dude, I don't want this on the podcast, and we'll literally end a few minutes ago, you know what I mean? But you are like in the military, and I don't even know why I did quotes. Like you're in the military. I just, cause like no, me being like the average civilian, I think of military and I think of guns and I think of overseas. I was like you giving me all this backstory of like all this other stuff with the branches. You know what I mean? Like that's why I think it turned off, cause like we've literally been going for like over 2 hours and it might just be like a little overheated, but. Cut off like mid last big points. Last question I had for Hannah, which was it involved like her being in the military, me recently meeting like an active person that's like about to be like a first line defender and go overseas and like fight in these gnarly battles, and like we have people like Colin Kaepernick, this big figure years ago, like taking a knee during the national anthem. I don't like, he definitely has his reasoning for why he did it, but like seeing you guys and like literally hanging out with you guys downtown on a pint night, it literally made me like, dude, like I respect these people so much more and I appreciate what you guys are doing. So like in your eyes, what's it like when people don't really agree with what's going on in terms of like you guys, like, because there's a lot of like anti-military people. Like what do you think about this?
I think it's hard to see, because like I'm obviously biased because I know what the military does. I've seen and I've heard amazing speeches from veterans, from like people who have been like injured in battle, and like and read about like D-Day and like understanding, you know, like wars, and like obviously my dad, like hearing, because he's been in the military for 22 years, and so like I am biased with that. And I wouldn't say like I'm a very like patriotic person per se, like I'm not running around with the flag like everywhere, and like, but intrinsically like I am, and it does kind of, I think a lot of people who have strong opinions against the military are either ignorant or just don't know. I think it's a matter about like educating people. Like honestly, like in this area, we are not educated on the military at all, or because like compared to like places that are really close to army bases, or like, you know what I'm saying, like right outside of Fayetteville, North Carolina, right outside of Fort Bragg. Like obviously they have more of a connection and understand it better than San Luis Obispo, California.
Yeah.
So I think that's an aspect to consider, is probably some people just aren't educated on the topic, and understand the intensity of, or like the depth of like patriotism or heroism, or I'm trying to think of another word like that, like goes through the people who serve.
Yeah.
Because there are parts, like especially too, like when I see like especially what's going on right now in our country, there are times where I'm like, I am not proud to be an American right now. Like I'm pissed that I have to defend like fuckers, like you know, like that are being like these racist fucks. Like I'm sorry, like I'm pissed that I have to like defend their rights, or like I'm like, you're just so uneducated, you just don't know. And so I do have that inner conflict sometimes, but in the end I am like proud of what I'm about to do with my life, and I hope that one day that like I am defending for a nation that will be healed and fixed from like what's happening right now. But yeah, when I do see like things like that, I guess it kind of like hurts me a little, or like when people bash the military, because I'm like, but you just don't truly understand or don't know.
Yeah.
Because like you said, like after I went to visit Normandy last year in France, and like the cemetery, and it was so powerful to see that like firsthand, like, oh my God, like like if I were on one of those boats and told, all right, you're gonna go storm this beach and you're not gonna survive, like you are the first wave, like there's gonna be bunkers with German machine guns and you will literally be obliterated, like there's no chance for you to survive. Like I personally, I don't think I could have done it. I'd be shitting myself. like those people, the amount of like bravery, and
they stopped what they were doing to do this, you know.
Exactly. Like it blows my mind, like that caliber of person is not really seen anymore, or not appreciated anymore. Like I feel like during World War II in the 1940s, when there was so much military support on the home front, and we don't have that kind of same relationship, civilian military relationship anymore, I'd say, in comparison to then. But yeah, so it is an inner conflict for me, because sometimes I am very proud and sometimes I'm like, man, like the US is not making me very proud today. Or I'm not proud to be like having to represent, not even represent, but like support and defend these people. But like as an officer, like we like took an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. So that's kind of like where, if I get annoyed with citizens, like, well, okay, but my job is to support and defend the Constitution of the United States, and that is like my core mission, purpose. So that's where I'm at with that.
Well, you answered that really well. I'm stoked to hear your opinion. Let me make sure this is still working and didn't turn off. And perfect, very good.
Perfect. Thank you.
Oh yeah, bro. All right, guys, you heard it from Hannah Buechner herself. Just graduated West Point. Thank you for coming on the show.
I'm glad I was here.
Dude, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I think you're gonna bring like this energy. Like I'm so glad that we made plans for you to come here at 10 a.m. and get this done. I think people need to know you and about your life. We have close friends who know you but don't know this side of you, dude.
Yeah.
Let's go. Thank you for being on this platform.
I'm
Thank you
glad
guys
I
for
could
watching.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Oh yeah. Good shit, Hannah.
Oh, that was
really
awesome.
good.
Oh.